Dr. the Honorable D. Orlando Smith, Premier and Minister for Tourism, Honorable Mark Vanderpool, Minister for Communication and Works, Honorable Archibald Christian, Junior Minister for Tourism and Territorial at-Large Representative, representatives here from the Ministry of Education and Culture, Chairman of the BVI Tourist Board, Mr. Russell Harrigan, Director of Tourism, Ms. Sharon Flax-Mars, other invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the launch of One BVI Tourism Awareness Campaign. What is One BVI, you may ask? One BVI is a tourism awareness campaign aimed at promoting the importance of tourism to all persons living and residing in the BVI, and for us to take ownership of the role we take in impacting the guest experience, whether we are directly or indirectly engaged in the tourism industry. Indeed, the BVI is a multicultural society, and among ourselves, we unfortunately sometimes seem to highlight the differences. But in the eyes of our guests, we are all from the BVI and must be good representatives or ambassadors of the territory. Therefore, it is important for us to work together as one BVI and ensure that our interaction with our guests is a memorable one that gives them a positive experience, which encourages them to return and tell others to come and visit our shores. We must ensure that every link in the chain is strong, from immigration and customs, taxis, tour operators, airlines, to the ordinary man on the street who is asked for direction by our guests. My fellow residents, let us remember that tourism is everybody's business. The main objectives of the campaign are to define the meaning of tourism in the context of these Virgin Islands, to increase awareness of the importance of tourism to the BVI and its residents, to emphasize the roles that each resident plays in the delivery of successful tourism product and services, and ultimately to get more buy-in from all the persons residing in the BVI in the development of tourism and the maintenance of a product which is of a very high standard. The One BVI campaign will focus around three important components: general awareness of tourism, service standards, and environmental cleanliness. We are reaching out to our industry partners, government departments, corporate sector, ordinary citizens, and residents to all play their part in building awareness that is geared towards a memorable guest experience. We will be utilizing various media to get this message across. And without any further ado, I'm going to invite to the podium our Director of Tourism, Ms. Sharon Flax-Mars, to bring remarks.
Today is a very special day. It's a special day for tourism. It's a special day for BVI, and it's a special day for me and as well for my team members at the BVI Tourist Board. Honoring the protocol already established, I want to say a warm BVI good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon. To our Premier, Dr. the Honorable D. Orlando Smith, I want to express my thanks and appreciation for having faith in me and the Tourist Board to put a strong stamp on BVI tourism and to help move us forward. I've always remembered Dr. Smith's words, tourism is everybody's business. That's why we're here today. This is why we're launching One BVI, our tourism awareness program to help all residents of the BVI understand and appreciate that tourism is not just the role of the Tourist Board or the government. We are One BVI because everyone in the BVI touches tourism. Tourism has been a success because all of you, individually and collectively, play a role, whether you believe it or not. We will endeavor with our One BVI campaign to show you those roles. Tourism is our future, and we all have our part to play to sustain it. Our tourism product is one of very high standards. We are a diverse society of different cultures. However, we're all residents of the BVI, and thus, we are one BVI. Collectively, we are responsible for shaping a community, and a community who works together to support the BVI brand. This can only be achieved through consistent, great customer service, increased support to keep our islands clean, and continued tourism awareness. And of course, there's BVI pride. Anyone who knows me knows I'm always going around saying BVI pride, BVI wide. This program is designed to showcase that. As many of you know, we have been working closely with the world-renowned Disney Institute for the past year to create and maintain a distinctive culture of service for BVI. We developed what we call a service framework. It's a singular framework that speaks of a common language when it comes to meeting and, more importantly, exceeding the service expectations of our guests. It consists of three main components: a common purpose, service standards, and service behaviors. Our team members have been handing out a small card. Make sure that each of you do not leave this afternoon without that card. The common purpose statement on that card reads, "We create happiness when we work together to provide lasting BVI memories." We have also developed service standards to ensure consistent and high-quality customer service experience, and it is based on safety, friendliness, authenticity, and efficiency. Finally, there are 10 clearly defined and measurable service behaviors. They may seem very simple, but I can guarantee you that if we follow those 10 service behaviors, we will be an even greater success than we are now. 1, I prioritize safety in everything that I do. I smile, make eye contact, display positive body language, and keep conversations positive. I seek out guest contact, using our guest names wherever possible. I anticipate needs and welcome questions. I am knowledgeable about our island culture and proactively share our nature's little secrets. I reduce hassles and inconveniences for our guests. I value each guest's time and resources. I make it right, and I make it right away. I thank each and every guest. And finally, I acknowledge others' contributions towards a memorable guest experience. In developing and implementing this service framework, it should be noted that the focus was not about creating a Disney experience in the BVI. It was about creating a unique guest experience that differentiates the BVI experience from the rest of the Caribbean and the world. Ladies and gentlemen, since August last year, over 700 employees and employers have gone through the program. Disney will be returning to work with us next month and training our own BVI landlords and BVI residents to state this program. That is important. We need to be the deliverers of our own service. I've just returned from Antigua at the OECS Conference of Ministers of Tourism, which I attended with our junior minister. And I must say, we were quite proud to be representing the BVI. I'm proudest that our counterparts hold us up as pace setters and leaders in tourism, but they're nipping at our heels. They want to know what we do to keep our visitors coming back. So we need to continue pushing. We have to push because we need to be the best. We need to ensure that our guests visit and their stays exceed their expectations from beginning to end. And I say we, as no one person or company can do it alone. It is working together as one BVI that we create the product we offer, provide the services and experience delivered, which then translates into accolades. All of us must play our part. Why? Because our sustainability and our future and the future of our children depends on it. We work hard on and for tourism, all of us in our own way, but we need you to work harder. The tourism dollar touches all of us. One BVI is a catchword that I want to hear on everyone's lips. We are one BVI. Tourism is our business. It's everybody's business. Our campaign is front-facing. You will see tourism in our television stations, online, at our ports, in our schools, in our streets, in the government offices, in financial services. And we will all become more aware of our BVI and our tourism product and the role we must play. After all, we are one BVI. Thank you.
Now I'll ask the Minister, the Premier and Minister for Tourism, Dr. the Honorable D. Orlando Smith, OBE, to come to the podium to give remarks. Please.
I want to recognize my colleagues there, the Honorable Minister for Communication, the Honorable Mark Vanderpool, and also my colleague here, Honorable Archibald Christian, Junior Minister for Tourism. You know, tourism is such a big business, I had to have some help. So Archie's here to help us out. He's working across ministries. You know, the Honorable Mark Vanderpool is involved heavily in the cruise tourism business. But we are the promoters, and Archie's the one that links us together. Thank you, Archibald. Ladies and gentlemen, tourism, I do really believe that tourism is everybody's business. And this is why we're all here today to start this program, One BVI, so that we all can understand that we all have a role to play. From a government point of view, there's lots of things that the government has been doing because we take our responsibility very seriously. We have been taking action to stimulate growth in the tourism sector, including encouraging both local and foreign investment in the sector. Through incentive programs such as Hotel Aid and Pioneer Status, along with services being provided by the National Business Bureau under the Department of Trade, Investment Promotion, and Consumer Affairs. Meanwhile, we continue to work through the BVI Airports Authority to secure greater air access to the territory. The highlight of this is what I like to call a game changer. That we will see BVI Airways begin flying direct non-stop to the BVI from the United States by the fourth quarter of this year. Needless to say, this will provide convenient and reliable access from our main markets. The momentum to improve the infrastructure to support the tourism industry continues to build with the opening of the Tortola Pier Park in February this year. We also expect to commence work on the expansion with the Terence B. Lettsome International Airport by July. Additionally, the government continues to work through the Tourist Board in the Department of Culture for the development of heritage sites for the enjoyment of guests and locals. Recent improvements have been seen in the reopening of the Faulkner House in Anegada, and the continued work in the Church of Kingston and the Virgin Islands Maritime Museum at the HLCC College. With these initiatives and infrastructural improvements, we are preparing to offer tourists a great travel and guest experience, whether as a cruise passenger or as an overnight visitor. As a minister responsible for tourism, I want to encourage every person residing in this territory to embrace the spirit of the One BVI campaign. We must come together as one BVI because when the visitors encounter a resident, they're not looking at the place from where that person originates. They identify that person as a resident of the BVI and therefore their host in this territory. Do you know that even one chance encounter with a visitor can have a profound impact on the impression of the destination? One chance encounter can impact their perception of our friendliness and ultimately their overall experience and whether they plan to return. It is important that we all take ownership of our tourism industry as it is a major driver of economic activity in the territory. It drives the transportation industry, it drives the real estate industry, it drives the retail industry, and most certainly a driver of our thriving marine industry. Tourism also supports culture, and through the number of visitors to our shores daily, we're able to receive services that other countries with a similar resident population cannot receive based on economies of scale. Any one of us at any given time may interact with the tourists at the supermarket or on the street asking for directions. Let us smile and be courteous and go the extra mile for our visitors. In fact, this congenial behavior towards a fellow man is not just good for the tourism, but also for the well-being of the entire territory. The state of the tourism in the BVI depends on you, me, and all residents of the territory rallying as one BVI and unequivocally demonstrating tourism is everyone's business. Just want to give an example of how some people see that it is indeed everyone's business. There was a gentleman here from the UK actually. He was the chief planner in the town and country planning department. And he loved to go and walk in the hillsides in Tortola and in Virgin Gorda. And after he finished his stint, completed his stint as chief planner, he departed back home, and now he's written a book called Trails of the BVI. And this will be on sale for residents, for visitors, because I've read it and it contains some good walking trails that I know, some of you also know as well, but he's actually written it down, and now it's there for everybody to use. So he is actually being an ambassador for BVI tourism, even though he was here and departed. In like way, I think all of us have to be ambassadors for BVI tourism. I will be, I'm sure Mr. Russell Harrigan, the chairman of the tourist board will be, and also Dr. Arad Potter. Thank you, Dr. Potter, for coming.
Before I call Ms. Victorine Creaky and the Minister for Communication and Works to deliver the certificates for the Aquila tour operators, I would like to give special recognition to some young persons, which we call the future of tourism that we have here among us. And if they are within earshot, I would like them to please stand as their names are called. Ms. Latoya Alexander, who is the reigning junior chef from Virgin Gorda. Ashley George, who is the table setting winner, reigning table setting champion from Virgin Gorda. Ms. Shalamoth Stout, who is the Tortola junior chef. Kiera John is the table setting champion for Tortola. And we have, from a recent competition, the winner of the signature drink competition, Miss Chelsea Hodge. Without any further ado, I will ask the Minister of Communication and Works and Ms. Victorine Creaky to approach the podium.
Last year, the British Virgin Islands Tourist Board, in collaboration with the BVI and Taxi Livery Commission, held a tour guide excellent certification training program. This was facilitated by Aquila Center for Excellence from Canada. Our taxi professionals and our tour operators had to go through a one-week training, and at the end, they had to complete a written exam and a video assessment to be successful tour guides. Today, it is with great pleasure that we stand here to present the certificates to those successful candidates. I will call their names, and at the end, if you can save all the applause until the end, I'll greatly appreciate that. And we will also do a group shot with all these successful candidates and all our dignitaries at the back on the lawn. So without further ado, Jason Carlwood. Vernell Deming. Doyle Foy. Mr. Elroy Foy, and he could not be with us this afternoon, but his wife will collect his certificate. Jameson Hazel. Bob Henry. Imran Khan. Henry Lawrence. Also will be collected by Mrs. Foy. Keithley Liburn. Jason Mendez. Alston Norman. Vincent Payne. Henito Reese Penn. Kamisha Peters Moffat. Thank you, Vern. Shawana Ramsey. Carl Scatliff. He wasn't it? Edwin Seminaro. Donald Shuttlewood. Keith Smith. Patrice Trimenham. Samuel Williams. That is it. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Those men deserve a hearty round of applause, because that course was not an easy course, and including the video part. Many of them, many persons I've seen, they fell down on the video part, but these men were able to stick with it. And women, sorry. And I'm very proud to see some females among them. We will now We will now have the official handover of the Tourism Education Manual. I'll invite the director. She will do the official handing over to the representative of the Ministry of Education and give a brief remark on that, on the manual. So Dr. Potter, please approach.
Thank you, Keith. As indicated, there will be very, very brief remarks. The BVI Tourist Board has been working quite diligently, I must say, for quite a few years in trying to put together a tourism education manual. This is a manual that can be used in the schools to give additional information on what the fabric of tourism is. It's a guide that will help the instructors as well as the students to understand and appreciate BVI tourism. It is our hope that the Ministry of Education and Culture will take this manual, use this manual in our schools to assist our students, and of course to further interest in tourism. So Dr. Potter, on behalf of the Ministry, the Premier's Office, the BVI Tourist Board, and our education component at the BVI Tourist Board, we'd like to present you with a copy of this manual.
I just want to say thanks on behalf of the Minister for Education and Culture, Honorable Myron Walwyn, who couldn't be here this afternoon. We certainly appreciate the handover of the manual, and I know that we have been working on it for quite a few years. And now that we have introduced tourism as a subject in our schools, this will go a long way in helping our teachers. Thank you very much, Madam Director.
We will now have what we call tourism testimonials that highlight the three areas that we spoke about earlier: service, cleanliness, tourism awareness. We're actually going to invite a young lady from Virgin Gorda. She is in the Virgin Gorda Rotaract Club. We're going to ask her to come first. She's Miss Christine Stevens. She'll be followed by Mr. Keith Smith and Miss Maya Bazar. Please welcome Ms. Stevens.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I acknowledge the protocol that has already been established. It is with great honor that I stand before you today as the chosen speaker identified by the BVI Tourist Board Product Department to discuss the topic of the importance of a clean BVI for both locals and tourists alike. Evidently, in our daily lives, we've seen the number of persons visit our territory on a weekly and monthly basis, which to me shows what a major tourism destination the BVI really is. With tourism being our #1 pillar of financial revenue, it is very important that we keep our BVI clean. As a member of the Rotaract Club of Virgin Gorda, I am passionate about community service. I have had the opportunity to be involved in multiple cleanup campaigns and have spearheaded cleanup initiatives under my director role. As a Rotaractor, but most importantly, as a proud BVI lander, I have personally witnessed the excessive quantities of garbage, such as aluminum cans, glass bottles, and even furniture that are found along our streets, or beaches, and overlooking bays, and even sadly beside the trash bins. Now, I do not think that the large accumulation of garbage appeared instantly. No, it was thrown periodically, or persons did not have an interest to hold their litter until they were close to a disposable area. With this act being considered as a norm to many, it creates unpleasant smells in the area, which harbors rodents and rats, flies and mosquitoes, which in turn welcomes diseases such as chikungunya and now Zika. Do you remember the number of reported cases of persons who suffered from chikungunya and dengue in 2015? That in itself contributed to an unsanitary environment, and tourists are interested in locations where it's safe and disease-free. What do you think will happen if tourists found out if we had any cases of Zika in the BVI? We wouldn't have any tourists coming. Are you as an economy ready for something like that? I think not. It's time for us as citizens of this territory to decrease the amount of garbage that is thrown throughout our beautiful islands. With tourism being our forerunner, we must ensure that we do our part so that we can have the number of tourists we see daily return again. If we fall short, our tourism sector will decrease, as many would not like to take that risk and visit. They will certainly find other places where they can enjoy nature and breathe freely. I am here to remind you that our British Virgin Islands is nature's little secret, awaiting to expose its paradise. In order for it to remain that way, we have to take pride in our environment. We must all play an active role in the cleanliness of our environment. We cannot solely depend on solid waste to keep our islands clean. We are one BVI, and it is everybody's responsibility, because tourism is not just my business, but tourism is everybody's business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stevens. And now I would invite to the podium a young man, my namesake actually, Keith Smith, and he will speak about the aspect of service. But I will also mention that Mr. Smith, among the Aquila tour operator trainees, the certificate recipients, had the top score. So please, as he comes, give him a special round of applause. Mr. Keith Smith.
President, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Keith Smith, representing Rotong Taxi Stand. Just to put emphasis, I think our Honorable Premier, as well as Ms. Flax, spoke about it, but again, add a little bit to it in terms of service and how important service is to us as a destination. Now, the thing about service is it starts from the top, goes straight down to the bottom, and unless we collectively get on that same page, we will not achieve what we want to go. Service starts from the beginning, from immigration to customs as soon as you enter the territory, to the taxis, straight down to the hotels, straight down to the people that you encounter on the street. It's all about how you deal with people. Now, the thing about it, what I want to emphasize is that throughout the Caribbean, what we have here is not uncommon. Sun, sand, and sea, we have that. We are very beautiful, but we're not the only beautiful destination. What will make us stand out is our service and how high the standard of service that we have here is. Now, that's one of the things I was privileged to be exposed to as I went to Sea Trade was 2 years ago, and that's one thing they emphasize, and that was service. And you keep hearing the word over and over, service, and that, I just want to emphasize that comes from all of us. Now, I must extend my appreciation to the whole Tourist Board team for putting on this initiative. This is one of the things that improves what we as taxi drivers do out here. If you notice, there's many of us that were or did the training, but that doesn't mean that that's all of us that provide this kind of service, even though some of them may not have been on this podium. We have a lot of us that give that good service on an everyday basis, but we don't get recognized as much. But the minute something goes wrong, as in every other industry or every other job place, you hear it on the news, we get chastised. So it's just good to know that we have this kind of positive recognition right now. And as I said, I commend the Tourist Board for that. Now, I just want to once again encourage all of us to do our part to raise this to another level. Because after all, we are one BVI. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Keith. I see your mother very proudly applauding you in the audience, Teacher Ruby. And I'll ask now the BVI Tourist Board's Junior Minister of Tourism, Ms. Maya Bazar, to come to the podium.
I acknowledge the protocol that has already been established. Ladies and gentlemen, whether you believe it or not, tourism, especially within the borders of the beautiful British Virgin Islands, is everybody's business. Everybody from our eager visitors each and every day to those who've been born and raised in this marvelous territory. On that note, I would like to welcome everyone to this advancing event for the BVI Tourist Board. Not only will I be discussing the importance of tourism for our residents and why they should increase their awareness, I will also be discussing how I became interested in tourism and how the youth of today should definitely consider a field in this industry's fast-growing dynamics for their futures. Tourism is everybody's business. Increasing our awareness in tourism will not only further unite us as a territory, but it will continue to display our generous and kind-hearted nature as human beings. It shows that we are and will always be a family, no matter what comes our way here in the BVI. As an eager high school student, I was lost and always searching for that one thing to make me whole, that one thing to keep me busy, and that one thing that I was meant to do. First, it was becoming an executive chef, and then it was the anesthesiologist. Later came wanting to be a film director. I mean, trust me, school definitely kept me busy, but I was missing something. I was missing that hands-on experience I got with the realistic working environment known as the BVI Tourist Board. Now I know what I want to accomplish. Thanks to everyone at the Tourist Board, I know that I want to be a worldwide marketing consultant one day, just like my role model, Nardine St. Rose. That's all I want from my fellow peers. I want them to have that security and a definite answer when someone remarkable asks them, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to be? Tourism is everybody's business. Having experiences similar to mine can definitely help them further achieve their goals. Tourism is everybody's business. Tourism is everybody's business. Guys, believe me, tourism is every single body's business. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Maya. We've now reached to the end of the program, but we're going to ask a young gentleman who is the Junior Minister for Tourism and the Territorial at-Large Representative, Honorable Archibald Christen, to come to the podium to give remarks. Please welcome him as he comes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keith, for those kind remarks. I am honored to know that I'm still young. I will adopt the protocol already established, but this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to acknowledge the Premier and Minister of Tourism, Dr. the Honorable Orlando Smith, and my colleague, the Minister of Communication and Works, Honorable Mark Vanterpool. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is my pleasure as Junior Minister for Tourism and Territorial Representative to offer the vote of thanks for this launch this afternoon. Firstly, thanks to Almighty God for this lovely afternoon and such beautiful weather, nice and cool, on the lawn. We'd like to thank the persons who participated in this afternoon's launch. First, Miss World BVI, Miss Sasha Wentz, for singing the national anthem. The group from the Elmo Stout High School for performing the territorial song. And I think that they did a fantastic job. Dr. the Honorable D. Orlando Smith, OBE, the Premier and Minister for Tourism, for bringing his remarks. Honorable Mark Vanderpool, Minister of Communication and Works, and Miss Victorine Cricky for presenting the tour operators' certificates. Mr. Keith Smith, Miss Christine Stevens, and Miss Maya Bazar for giving their tourism testimonials. Mr. Keith spoke about the role of service, which is extremely important, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Christine Stevens spoke about a topic that is very passionate and dear to my heart, the cleanliness of the BVI. And Miss Maya Bazar spoke about tourism awareness. We'd like to also thank the Director of Tourism, Miss Sharon Flax-Mars, for bringing remarks and officially handing over the Tourism Education Manual, and to Dr. Marcia Potter, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Culture, for accepting the manuals on behalf of the Minister, who unfortunately could not be here. The Razor Blades have not played any music as yet. The instruments are behind us. But after this, we'd like to thank them for the entertainment and for providing the PA system. To Mr. Keith Dawson for chairing the program, the various vendors who provided their services and amenities for today's program. To Miss Chelsea Hodge, the winner of the Elmo Stout High School Signature Drink Competition, and for the drink competition for providing us with samples of her winning beverage. The management and staff of Tortola Pier Park for being the host and sponsor of this event. The hardworking team of the BVI Tourist Board, of which I'm proud to be associated with, for pulling off this event this afternoon. In the event that we inadvertently neglected to thank someone, which is something that is always possible, we say thank you for the part that you played in making this afternoon's event a success. I say a big thank you to all of you. Needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, this campaign has made my heart beam with joy, as I am an ardent supporter of the work and the work that we aim to do with the residents throughout this territory to make us one BVI. I couldn't end this afternoon without elaborating on something that the director spoke about earlier. We just came back from an OECS conference on tourism held in Antigua. And I certainly, along with the director, was extremely proud to note the high regard in which the BVI is being held in the field of tourism. But in particular, the area that stood out was in the area of sailing. We, as you know, are competing with other countries in the Caribbean, in particular the OECS, and as Mr. Smith said, most of the countries in the OECS, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica, St. Kitts, Antigua, St. Martin, Anguilla, and all the other countries that attended the conference, all of us have one thing in common. We are trying to sell our country as the best destination in the OECS. But the BVI still stands out as being number one. And for us to be able to continue to be number one, every single resident, man, woman, boy, and girl, has to make the commitment and dedication to ensuring that we deliver the service, the cleanliness, and all that it takes to ensure that the visitors' experience to the BVI is one that they will never forget. And that experience starts at the port of entries, with our customs and immigration officers, with our ambassadors, with our taxi drivers, and it goes all the way back down to every single man and woman in this territory. I am proud to be associated with one BVI, and I want to encourage all of us who call the BVI home to participate and ensure that we treat our visitors with second-to-none treatment. Thank you very much.